Now let's kickstart everything as we always do on most nights with the Australian, and I guess it's all about what is happening in Glasgow. China wants world to pay for net zero. India and China have called on advanced economies to provide up to a US $1 trillion now for developing countries to reduce emissions, rejected 2050 net zero targets and offered no firm commitments to phase out coal-fired power at the Glasgow Climate Summit. The divide between developed and developing nations is again looming as the major obstacle to greater progress at COP26, with ScoMo warning that getting the climate shift wrong would impact those who can afford it least, as he promoted his technology, not taxes approach to reducing emissions. Do you like the fact that we're now seeing our Prime Minister on the world stage taking his domestic policy to the international stage? Sarah, how do you think day 2 of the Climate Summit has gone for our Prime Minister?
Well, for me, I mean, I didn't know if he would go or not for a long time. A lot of us in the press gallery didn't. He wasn't committing to it, and now here he is on the world stage talking about what Australia is doing, right? It's been an interesting one, though, because I think a lot of the world and international, leaders and media have seen the reporting of net zero ahead of this, our commitment to net zero, and seeing things regarding that it's like based on the same policy that we already have. So I think, there's a bit of a mixed response to Morrison there, and particularly with some of the elements regarding the French president and the stoush there. Questions being raised about the reputation of Australia that Morrison is bringing have definitely been raised. I mean, maybe I'm setting the bar too low, Jenna. I'm just glad he's there. Like, we didn't think he was going to be for a long time. I was just like, oh no, literally our world leader isn't going to be there. And he is, so I'm stoked.
Now, Sarah, sorry to have a question without notice, but obviously just in the last hour or so, Scott Morrison has met with business leaders from around the globe, including from Rio Tinto, Santos and other massive resources companies who have all flocked to Glasgow to hear what world leaders have had to say and also, rub shoulders on the sidelines. What have we heard from that breakfast? Has our Energy Emissions Minister Angus Taylor and our Prime Minister, have they delivered the goods for the business sector?
I think a lot of what's being said is what we've heard already regarding that Australia has already done and is already putting in place what it needs to meet its emission targets, to meet all of this. And I think the business community is pushing harder. A lot of business, especially in mining even, have been saying, look, we've done this for years now. What else have you got? You let us know about this big target. And now what's new? And I think the government's stuck really hard. I mean, they've got 149 pages of that net zero emission plan that's based on all this stuff they've already done. And I think they're really, really sticking to that, particularly because the Nationals are watching really, 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 really closely. If the government announces anything new overseas or makes any promises that we haven't already heard here in Australia, it's already a bit of a melting pot here with the coalition. So I think they're just really treading quite carefully. So again, I think it's nothing we haven't heard before. I think it's nothing the business community hasn't heard before, and I think there's a bit of disappointment there going on.